Good luck ever finding one person that you can trust. Oh, cool. Should I contact a lawyer to draw up a contract so you don't steal my stuff? Other people, they don't want to work. Trust me, for him to only have $6 million, that's embarrassing. I've had people take $10,000 from me and walk away and never talk to me again. Sam's Jewish, he's always asking for money. People counting money they don't have. The point is, he's not the guy who's going to tell you how to like go from 0 to 1 in terms of your own income.
Hey, Sam, you mentioned before that you hate social friction. How do you reconcile that with your confrontational comedy?
Be physically strong enough to beat the life out of anybody that has an issue with what you're saying and get real close to them when you talk. I know I might seem like a psycho, but there's one thing I hate, and it's social friction, so be cool. One of the major reasons why I've built this thing, I don't have an unusual aspiration towards fame. A huge driver for me is that I would not fit in at a 9 to 5, because when there's a person that I don't like, I cannot stifle it, and I cannot integrate.
Yeah.
I'm just unwilling to do it.
I don't think that's that uncommon. People having a hard time working on a team, especially with people that they don't like. Like, most of the time, you're probably gonna not like, a large portion of your coworkers, just because people in general are dumb and stupid, and because of that they start suffering consequences that they make for themselves, which makes them shitty and miserable, and they want to see other people miserable, and they get off on that. So having a hard time putting up with people that you don't like is probably not super uncommon.
I'm not going to live like that. I'm not going to walk on eggshells around somebody that is whatever. People are so glitched out. And at workplaces, at 9 to 5 jobs, you have like bullies. There's people who they thrive on like misery and negative. That's crazy to me that you're already.
You gotta be able to notice that early and just fucking avoid those people, man. I learned some valuable lessons about that shit. And man, you want to spot that shit early.
In a rat cage, and there's people there that are like getting off on making it more difficult for you. I couldn't live like that. I can't live like that. So I will do anything except get a real job. That's my mantra. It's the day I quit selling cars.
25 years old with a fire in my belly for a good future. Got a job in the industry, want to start a business, and I work out daily, practicing Catholic. However, I'm in college for business. I want to use my time wisely. Do you have any tips?
Well, going to college for business is a waste of time. So that's a bad start. As someone who has finished college, I've realized that more than half, I'd say about like 65%, somewhere around there, of degrees that universities offer are completely useless and just not applicable to adult life afterwards. Like, no one's looking to hire people that are, have a gender studies degree. And if you do have a business degree, you better have an internship, because really the business degree is shit. But what the internship could do is give you that experience, which arguably is better than having a degree or certificate. Like, employers look for experience predominantly over everything, and especially if you could get someone onto an interview, you could probably sell them to hire you, like sell yourself, and if you could do it in a good way, like, they'll hire you. But yeah.
Starting a business is hard. It's just hard, and it's
If you wanted to get into business, like you said, it is hard. You'll probably fail, and you probably won't make it. But if you do, it's gonna require a lot of persistence. And you don't need to go to college for that. You could save yourself a lot of time and money by just completely avoiding that and doing it on your own. Plus, like all the first-hand experience and on-hands learning, that's going to be way more valuable to you in constructing a business than looking at theories and definitions and taking tests. Like, that's not what business is about.
risky and takes a lot of money. So
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First of all,
I don't know, man.
I feel like when people say I want to start a business,
Yeah, you need
it's
the
almost general, like they don't know.
You
what
need
it
the
is.
like idea. Like you need to.
Yeah, if you're asking someone that you want to start a business, I feel like you're probably not cut out for it, because the people that do want to start a business, they know what they want to do, how they're going to do it. Only then can reaching out to people who are qualified to give advice on it, could work. But even then, like, that will most likely fail. But those are the people that have the mindset that they're just going to go for it. And that's probably one of the most important things that you need to have for that type of path or career.
To know what it is that you need to know the hole that you're filling.
Like, you shouldn't be asking someone to give you permission or advice on something like business. I forgot where I was going with that. But basically what I was trying to get is you shouldn't be asking someone for validation to, like, start something. Like, as a business owner, all the responsibilities on you. Like, you need to be making that call on your own.
You know what I mean?
Like an idea, you have to find an idea that makes you want to start a business.
Like if you want to have some sex, you got to find some pussy first. You can't just go out there and have sex with the air. You look like a freak. You look
Well, you can. You'll just look retarded.
like a freak doing that. You see them everywhere. Somebody who is everywhere should have like $50 million. Why? Because if you have a personality like that, if your face is out there, if you have like an army of people listening to you, you should be able to monetize that. And especially if you're visibly, publicly always pushing something, supplements, CrossFit, kettlebell, weird workout plans, my book, my other book, you're always like hucking something. By the way, Gold Striker Cuban Muscle Crisis is now shipping. Wow. This coffee's good. But if you're always hucking something, hiring a person to edit your podcast, Jocko's like tour manager, like the people around him who set shit up for him, it's not cheap. Just because all you see is him on a microphone, it's not like it's free to produce that. He does need to make money. But if you're always hucking something,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like some people, I mean, like, what do you guys think? Like, I feel like if you're starting like a podcast or something where you're, aggregating viewers to, you know, to the content that you're doing, whether you're providing like useful information or entertainment, you really don't have to invest all that much. Like, have good audio, have good video, And editing, it's really not that hard. You could learn it on your own in probably like a few days. And you get better at it as you go. Like, you don't have to hire like a whole production team to do something like that. You can, and it will make the workload, like, what that will do is make the workload easier for you. But that type of workload, it's not really that hard, you know. Especially like once you get in the groove of things, like you could just kind of like produce content, not really think about it too much. Um, like for example, Penguin Zero, like he doesn't have like a production team. I mean, he has some friends that help him out every once in a while, but he has millions of subscribers and he gets millions of views, and he just does entertaining stuff and speaks his mind about things. But um, someone like the Nelk Boys podcast, like they got a whole production team, and that works for them. I feel like you could do either or, but you really don't have to put that much into it. It's just like Sam was saying, like constantly putting out content to maintain relevance or growth.
And your face is inescapable, always on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, every piece of social media, and you only have $6 million, you're a loser. I can't emphasize this enough. Sam's Jewish, he's always asking for money. Oh, he doesn't think 6 million's enough money? No. I'm talking about the various little pieces here that elevate this into a special case. He's everywhere. He's always selling something. Trust me. For him to only have $6 million, that's embarrassing.
Picture this. You're sitting at home alone watching YouTube
Willink only has $6 million?
videos, wondering why you can't find the motivation to do the thing.
That's embarrassing.
I think he has more than that.
For Jocko to only have $6 million is a shameful embarrassment. And people are like, oh, Sam thinks that everybody should have $6 million. He's an asshole. And then one of the comments was, I was listening to this out loud on the train, and a Jewish guy looked at me and said, he's right, you know.
I would love to have a group of guys around me that I could work on side projects with and business ideas.
Side projects.
Something similar to what you have.
Yeah.
But for guys with day jobs.
Okay.
How can I do this as a non-E-Celeb average Joe?
Best advice, literally just do it. It probably won't work for you in the way that you think it will. That's why you should go into it with a genuine interest and curiosity and getting fun out of it. Because if you're doing it solely for the money, that's not going to get you through the hard times. So if you're just an average person wanting to do something like this, just do it. Make some free time. No matter how much you work, you can always make free time. I work a lot. I make free time to do things that I want to do. Now, obviously, well, that's a separate topic.
Good luck ever finding one person that you can trust to jump in like that with. But that's where you start. Find one person. Find one like-minded person. But that's hard. Other people, they don't want to work. If you want to...
That's true. Most people, some really good advice that I heard and thought about. If you guys look around, really most people are poor because They make bad decisions, they're lazy, and they're dumb. And all those things they could change if they were to put in work or effort, but they would rather sit at home, do nothing, or do something else like completely unproductive. And because of that, it's like a reflection of their consequences that keeps like beating them over the head, and they keep suffering, because they're neglecting the responsibilities. Most people work hard enough to get by, but most people don't actually work hard. That's the saying. And that's why you can't trust anyone. I mean, as I grow older, the more I realize that you can't trust anyone. And it's not always like a bad thing. It's just like some people you can't trust because they're just genuinely stupid, and they can get you into some dumb shit just with you being associated with them. And then some people are just genuinely malevolent and you can't trust them. And it's like a range of things. But yeah, you just really can't trust anyone. Like, there's so few people that you can trust that if you were to spend the time looking for those people, you would be wasting your time only doing that because it's so rare. Like Sam said, it's just, if you were to do something like that, just do it on your own. Don't tell anyone about it. Build something, and then once you have something, you can start, looking around for people. But even then, you can only trust people to a certain degree. I think that's part of maturing, is realizing that you're on your own, and that you can't trust anyone. And the quicker you come to terms with that, the easier it gets.
If you want to do anything outside the box, you have to work so hard. It's unbelievable. And it's not the intensity of it, it's the consistency of it. It's the keeping your mind straight, keep juggling different factors, money, time, all this it's very difficult. So good luck finding one person who wants to go through all that nonsense to struggle for 6 years to try to make something happen. It's hard. It is hard.
Trap Lore Ross. Oh, shit. Is this the real Trap Lore Ross? You have built an amazing and dynamic team. Any advice on sourcing and managing a crew of effective teammates who actually do as they're told without threats of violence? Big love from the fallen UK.
Finding talented people is hard. It's the most challenging aspect has been assembling like-minded folks who are good. That's the hardest part.
To try.
That's probably one of the most important things that you can be as an investor or as a business owner or as an entrepreneur or whatever. Any type of like management or things where you're dealing with trying to make the company grow or whatever organization you're in, or see results, or just having genuinely good employees, is finding talented people. And like I said before, like, most people work hard enough to get by and don't actually work hard. Like, that's what makes finding talented people so hard, is because they genuinely work hard, and they don't stop working hard when the end of their shift comes. They keep going. But those people, are highly sought after and usually compensated for their value. So if you can't keep up with being able to provide them with what they demand, then they'll just find someone that is willing to do that.
Trial and error, probably. Just like
Yeah, trial and error for sure. There's all kinds of stuff. Like you can't signing contracts with people. First of all, if you ever encounter somebody who thinks contractually right off the bat, that's not the worst thing in the world, but it's a red flag for sure. Here's an example. Someone was telling me recently about his best friend. He was trying to sort of like an airsoft fatty situation where the guy was talented but didn't have his life together.
Yeah.
So he was trying to help his best friend out, and he was like, "Hey, I need you to put together scripts so I can pitch them to this network." And his friend was like, not in an antagonistic way, but he was like, "Oh, cool. Should I contact a lawyer to draw up a contract so you don't steal my stuff?" And he didn't mean it like in a way to start. He was just asking. He was asking if that was
Something like that, you shouldn't ask someone. You should tell someone. Like, if you tell someone, if they're not an insecure and immature person, they'll understand why you're, having a lawyer write up a contract, because again, you can't trust anyone. Especially when they have an opportunity and or incentive to take from you, because there are no consequences to them doing so. Like, they would be stupid not to.
That was like the way to do it. There's a ton of people who get like that right off the bat, thinking that some legal, like people just don't know how it happens. We had somebody who's like, I'm not going to say what that was, but we had a thing where it was like that, where it was just like a good guy who didn't know any better, but he had been told by somebody that getting like contracts in place and like talking to lawyers was like a thing that you should do. And it's just, first of all, I've never in 10 years, or doing this since 2007, I've never sued anybody. I've never been sued, and I just know that if I
Well, he's probably good at hiring people, because part of that is when you're trying to get into a deal with someone, or you're hiring them, or whatever, like, if you're not gonna use like a legally binding contract, you have to vet the person and like kind of figure out who they are, because like if you don't, it can go into some bad directions. But he's probably been burned enough where he understands like what the type of person that he's looking for. But that only comes with experience, so if you don't have experience, I would have to disagree with him here. Like, you're probably gonna want like a legally binding contract until you have been stabbed in the back enough and burned where you have that experience and you can distinguish that within people.
were to sue somebody, or vice versa, it would be just horribly painful, and it would just be about who can endure more pain and nuisance.
Yeah.
Who can endure more nuisance? There's nothing that you put on a piece of paper that means anything. First of all, our 45-page contract with the fish tank contestants, where they signed away their life story. Like, we have an NDA. The first thing John does when he goes on Twitter is like say a bunch of stuff that breaks the NDA.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the social cost to us if we like pursued legal action against John? Like, we would immediately destroy our image and our business by like going after John for breaking the NDA. Which, first of all, and the second part is like, if you have an agreement like that in California or New York or any state where it's like you have a chance of having an activist judge or mediator or something, like, your mediator is Karen Rainbow. They would just that stuff. It's not legally binding in the way that you think it is. It doesn't matter how well worded it is or what. It's just such a waste of time. It introduces so much drag in the sense of like friction. As soon as that discussion comes up, not with a contestant on a game show, but with like anybody, whatever, it immediately changes the dynamic just a little bit to more transactional, being aware of backstabbing. Like, I wonder if he's going to stab me in the back. We've got a contract together. It just doesn't. It's not good. It's not a healthy thing. So, if you're a corporation, or if you're an S corp and you're running an actual business and you have like a vendor, like you have an actual business relationship, then you probably need a contract. But if you're making music and your friend is making music, you don't need a contract. If what you need is to find masculinity, then it's totally fine. If that's what you need. David Goggins, less so, because David Goggins was about this like just this punishing workout routine. Jocko Willink, I actually like Jocko Willink. That's why I talk about him, is because he's an interesting character to me. And if you're a little worm in the mud and you need to find masculinity, and this is the sort of father figure you glom onto, good.
Meet your next pillow.
Man, these
Why do we make our pillow in the shape of a cube?
They gotta stop.
I'll tell you.
Better than nothing. It's better than nothing. But if you're like, okay, I have some testosterone now I need to like figure out how to start a business, whatever, solidify my position in life. Jocko Willink is not the start a business guy. The supplement thing, what happens if he had an interesting story.
Yeah. Again, if you're a start a business guy, it's all on you, you know. You shouldn't. You could look to people for inspiration. But the thing is like what worked for them won't work for you because of a myriad of factors. And you know, you just kind of got to pull the trigger on it on your own. Like, there are some good business books and like genuine information out there, but you know, you're not really going to get a whole lot of information from like motivational speakers or even, you know, business owners, like people that have already made it. Because the reality is like they got there because they're extremely competitive people, and because it's not out of like, maybe it is malevolence or something like that, but they're not going to tell you how they got there in a very detailed way. They'll tell you like very vague, very unuseful information, like, you know, this motivational and business content. It's always like you need to have a good mindset, and it's like no shit, you know. Or, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you guys have probably seen stupid videos like that. But if you do want some advice, probably the best business book that I've ever read is Blue Ocean Strategy. Out of all the business books that I've read, that is definitely the most insightful book on business that I've ever read.
Everything that came after that was somebody else coming to him and monetizing his celebrity on his behalf, which is why he only has 6 million. He didn't start the supplement company himself. The supplement company came to him and said, "Would you do a Jocko branded supplement?" And I know this because similar people and people in these circles have come to me and said the same thing. And they give you a percentage. So it's like he probably gets, 20% or whatever of what the supplement makes.
Yeah, this is what most celebrities or influencers do, because it requires little to no work, and it's just another income stream that they have.
Which is not close to what it makes gross, the net of what it makes. But it's other people coming to him and monetizing his celebrity for him. That's all the businesses that you see that are associated with Jocko. That's how they work. Like if you asked him to start his own business, he'd be like, "Oh, let's do a CrossFit gym." The point is, he's not the guy who's going to tell you how to like go from 0 to 1 in terms of your own income. Honestly, that should be Nick. If you need to know how to go from 0 to 1 for your net income, the one that works the most for the most people is get a job selling cars. For the most unskilled, for people who are like unskilled, have nothing, have no idea what they're doing, get a job selling cars. That's a good piece of advice, because you go out there, you get a trickle of income, and you start figuring out how the world works. Joe Rogan's day starts with an assistant going to get him a $15 green juice, okay, and then he has the stuff that he has access to. It's not the same as having nothing in your life. You know what I mean? When was the last time Joe had zero anything in his life? Probably 45 years ago. If you get f***ed over, the only thing you can do is just suck it up, be a man, and move on. Anything else is such a huge waste of...
Dude. Yeah, you just gotta take it on the chin and let it go. Because in reality, like, you are responsible for letting that type of bad thing in your life, and the only thing you can do, well, you could, seek revenge, but like, it's just an empty goal, and you're just wasting time.
And I've had people take me for mad money. Like, I've had people take $10,000 from me and walk away and never talk to me again when they were supposed to be doing something, business related or whatever, creative for that money. And if I had pursued it, it would have ruined me. Yeah. Like, if I had tried to track that money down, it would have ruined me. It would have taken 6 months of my life and my focus away from work. What did I even start ranting about this for?
Just finding good people. I mean, that's kind of the fee you
finding
pay
good
for
people, yeah.
Finding good people is eliminating bad ones.
Yeah, so you eventually rack up characters around you who you trust and who you know are not who don't look at things necessarily from a transactional point of view. And then if you're doing something kind of wild, then what you need people who are brave enough to weather the storm of hate and woke whatever is coming at you. But if you're doing something normal, you don't necessarily need that. But you just collect people that you trust and try to keep it a reciprocal relationship where they're getting something for what they're giving you, and just keep that going. That's kind of what it's about. That's a pretty common one. The people who jump to contractual stuff, or like trying to like people counting money they don't have. That drives me crazy when some musician, like, if it's their project.
I feel like that's a pretty good indication of like someone's not going to make it, is if they're micromanaging and just super hard to work with, and like you said, counting money they don't have. Like, that's a pretty good indicator that they're not going to make it. So you should probably avoid that person.
Projects that we do that are never going to, like Tales of Wape.
I've seen that enough in my life.
Tales of Wape is not like a money making. So if someone was doing music for that and they were like, hey, could I get 5% of the royalty, like something like that, where it's like 5% of the, or even a 1%. It's like, okay, now I have to do accounting. If it's a percentage, now I have to do accounting for a project that's making $15,000, like no money. Okay, now I have to set up accounting for this. So I have to do a Google spreadsheet. I'll get you that 1%. How often do you want me to PayPal you? Once a week? Like that type of stuff doesn't work.
Want to break into cybersecurity but don't have